Is it possible to set up an entry order on a Renko chart? This could be any chart. I guess a range chart also might be applicable. But can you place an entry order on a previous bar's open price, or maybe a previous bar's closing price, right? Yeah. So for this question, the example is, hold on. You know what? It's going to be better if I actually have my chart all prepped. Yeah, so let's get my chart switched over to a Renko chart, and it'll make a lot more sense when I explain the question. All right, so let's just use a Renko here, and open offset. Yeah, it's all right. I think that'll work out good. Let's see what that looks like. Maybe not so far down. Let's try this. All right. Yeah, I think that's a little better. 4. Well, actually, I'll just knock it up to 5. Okay. So, all right. So the question is, all right, so let's say you have a run of Renko bars here. And the question is, how would you, say you get a reversal up bar. So how would you place the entry order, right, at the bar's open price, right, and in hopes that, right, you get one of these wicks to come down, to pull back, so price pulls back, hits your entry order and gets you filled, and then you're off long, in a long trade there. So, all right. Let's demonstrate how to do that. So, and there we go. So if you guys notice, right, the trade control panel here was pulled out there. So if your BlackBird panels ever kind of get out of disarray there, you pull things out and things kind of get in a mess. Just remember that the BlackBird layout here has a reset button, so you can put everything back to the defaults. Right, so it's going to reset all these panels back to their default locations. So, and then you can kind of start over again. So, all right. So getting back to setting up a limit entry order at on a Renko bar's open price. So, and of course, you could set your entry order at the open price for any kind of bar type, whether it's range or minute bar, tick bar, whatever. BlackBird, again, BlackBird has no knowledge of what chart it's running on. Right? There's no code in BlackBird that can recognize, oh, this is a Renko chart. The only thing that BlackBird sees is open, high, low, and close prices. That's all it sees. It just sees bar prices. It doesn't see what type of bar it is, or what type of chart it is. So let's see here. And so I'm going to go ahead and throw in some profit target and stop losses just for good measure. And I'm going to try and set this stop loss literally like one tick below the reversal bar price. I think that's going to be 7, I think. Actually, maybe 8. Yeah. So. All right. So the question again is, how do I set up an entry order so that it's at, right, the closed bar's open price? Right? So there we go. So we have a limit entry order, right? And if you remember, I got the way I got started is, when you click the order set button, right, there's your different type of entry orders. And, so there you go. Start with a limit entry. And so next we need to go into the initial placement, right? And so why is it called initial placement? Because remember, you can trail your entry orders, right? So so the second part of this question is, let's say, your entry order doesn't get filled. So the next thing is to trail it up until it does get filled. Right? So the initial placement, as the name tries to imply, right, that's the first location that the order is going to get placed. And then once it's been placed, then you can start moving it around using the trailing actions tab there. All right, so the initial placement is not the close of the bar, but the open. So there we have it, like so. And if you want, right, you could maybe put it one tick above the open or one tick below the open, right? So you can easily add any kind of an offset, a tick or two offset from the open price. But that's it. Just change the price. The default price was the close of the bar. Just change that to the open of the bar, and we're done. So now the next thing is to set up the trailing for this entry order. So we're going to set the mode to custom, and now we need to add a trailing rule here, right? And let's give this a name. All right, good enough. Trail the open. All right. So, we want this entry order to start trailing immediately. So that means there's no trigger, right? There's no prerequisite before the trailing kicks in, right? We want to kick in immediately. So leave the triggers blank, and we just need to go to the action and set up where we want that entry order to move to on the next bar. And simply put, we just want this entry order to keep following the open price of the bar as each bar closes, right? As each bar forms, as a new bar forms and closes, we want the entry order to keep following that. And then lastly is the repeat, right? So we want this entry order to keep stepping up until it gets filled. So we'll set the repeat to indefinitely, right? Like so. And that's it. So really all we had to do was just set the action to the open price and then set the repeat to indefinitely. Those were the only two things we needed to do. So, and that's it. So with that, let's see. Well, yeah, I was thinking if I actually had a bloodhound signal that I could hook in here, but I don't think I do. So let's just hit go long. There we go. Boop. And filled. There we go. Oh, wrong direction. There we go. Let's go short. And filled. And go short. All right. There we have it. Pretty simple. Pretty straightforward. There. All right. So again, on the options tab, adjust the initial placement to the open price. All right. And of course, we started with a limit entry order type there. And then on the trailing actions, right, just enable the trailing actions by setting it to custom. and then add a trailing rule, and then the actions, right, where we want to keep moving that entry order to the open price, and then set the repeat to indefinitely, and you're done. And let's see, also just to cover both bases here, let's say you want to prepare for maybe a reversal bar there, right? So I think most of the times when I get asked this type of question, it's usually for a stop entry, right? So it's, in preparation for the market to reverse direction. Right? I could take, right, the open price. So if I wanted to convert this to a stop, I could take the open price and let's see here. Yeah, let's add 8 ticks. So I'll take the open and add 8 ticks like so. Yeah, I think that's all correct there. All right, let's go long. And there we go. Oh, hold on. I didn't finish setting everything up. Sorry. All right. So I set up the initial placement correctly, open plus 8 ticks. So I didn't go into the trailing actions here, and I didn't add that 8 ticks here. So let's add that 8 ticks to the open there. Oop, not 9. There we go. There we go. Open plus 8 ticks. There we go. And there. All right. And yeah, it looked like it was 1 tick above that open there. So yeah, I think that open was a little too far. So let's knock it down to 7 ticks there. So that probably also means that the stop loss should be there at 7 ticks as well. There. All right, let's go short. Bingo. There you have it. All right, so there you go. So, whether you want a stop entry, for a reversal, or a limit entry, for a pullback, all right, pretty straightforward there.